Do, 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 do. It's cutting my head off. It's looking a little. Is it? Okay. All right. Welcome to Weird and Woo Woo, where I'm weird and we all get a little woo woo. Let's see here. It's Coffee and Tarot. All right, Coffee and Tarot is the sitting down, and again, like I wanted to do the weekly check-in, but they're kind of like, I don't know, they feel meh about titling things that right now. So it is I suppose just got a lot to talk about, okay? And so, hey there. Um, Basically, we're going to sit down with a cup because we don't come to this reading with any parameters, questions, intentions, none of that shit. Spirit gets us down with us and discuss whatever the fuck they want to talk about. And so we just get to listen, and they can tend to yap when that happens. And so sometimes it's like a come to Jesus talk, not really come to Jesus, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, how we say in the South. And then other times it's fun loving, predictive, whatever. I don't fucking know because they don't let me know ahead of time. So we're going to sit down and we're going to see how everything goes. Okay. Alrighty. Now, my little spiel. You are a sovereign being of your life. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why. Any of these messages might apply. Hey. So whatever you do, don't Cinderella shit to me. Thank you. All right. Where I live, I don't know why I feel like telling you this, but the Earth has decided to skip a season. We maybe like back in August had 2 weeks of what felt like fall, and then it was like hot weather until it turned winter. Mother Nature is going through perimenopause. Okay, just saying. Yay. All right. All right. They want to start with Hermetic Tarot. They're giving me images. There's an artist, Sierra Farrell. She is a old school country singer, bluegrassy influence, bluesy influence. But they're showing me, I guess, images because she's really fantastical, flamboyant. Fantasy like when she performs. She has attire, her stage, everything looks non-traditional for country music, even though she sings very traditional, old school Johnny Cash like music. So I think there's something in the like something appearing a certain way, like two things going together that don't seem to go together. But that's what it's feeling like to me because they're really highlighting that, like the way that she presents on stage, very artistic in a way that country music usually does not. That was a book. Give me a second. We had rain. Okay, I'm gonna have to shuffle it. We had rain. We've not had nearly as much rain as we usually do. So our fall, it's like the leaves turn and get crunchy immediately. So we're not really getting to enjoy as much. There's a few trees that know how to retain water really well despite the lack of rain. But like where I live, if you don't have sufficient enough rain, your foliage is gonna look janky. And it is. It's dead before it ever falls. Before like as it's turning, it dies. The leaves just it's it's sad. And I'm not saying there's not parts of the area, but you know, we all like from January to May, we had nothing but floods, floods, floods. I mean, it destroyed a lot in my state. So many floods. In fact, my kids had 14 days off from school because of not, well, one of them was snow, but mostly rain. and what it was doing to all the areas. And that was spread out over like a 2 month period. So like they for 2 months they maybe went 2 days a week to school. And then July hit and it's been like drought weather. It's like two extremes. But at least without the rain, we don't have a million tornadoes because we are the new tornado alley. So I don't know. Are we good? Are we good? Seven of Cups. They keep throwing things out in a stack. The first time was a book. The second time was probably like 6 cards. Now it's 4. I'm not going to talk yet. Give me just a second. Okay. The first card was the 7 of Cups, y'all. And I'm like, at the bottom of this one, they call it the illusory success, right? Like the idea of accumulating 7 cups, but none of which really mean much to you, that aren't as fulfilling as they used to be. They're not even full. These cups aren't even full. It's like this accumulation of things, these attempts, these potentialities, but they're all drained. None of them have what it is that brings sustenance to you, or something in it for you, that's in alignment with you. And in fact, whatever made these something before, it's that is not there, because if you take a look, usually these flowers are pouring, like the water is pouring from the petals into a cup in this particular deck, and every flower that would refill each one of these cups is drought. Funny that I talked about Kentucky weather and I was like, we had monsoon and then it was utter drought. Like there was no in between. That's what it feels like. I feel like what was once filling all of this up and making it something worthwhile no longer is. I don't know why they're doing this. Je ne sais quoi isn't there? I don't even fucking really actually remember what that means, but anyway. They're showing me, I don't know why, but I'm going to point this out. In this one, there's 6 cups that are being filled up by all these flowers, and the roots or the stems of all the flowers that are pouring into these other cups is in the very center cup at the bottom, meaning that the flowers got their sustenance from the one cup and were able to pour into the other areas. So this is kind of giving me like your cup was empty and therefore, or your cup is empty and therefore is unable to bring any type of fruitfulness or pour into any other area that once was life-giving, because 6 of cups is something that is pleasure and excitement and a joy with life. Okay. And so the fact that your cup is empty means there's something, there's this idea of you being the sustenance and life force that made any one of these things in your life really great. So it's kind of like it wasn't those cups that you yourself enjoyed. It was who you were, and who you got to be, and what you gave to it that gave it life, not it giving you the sustenance. I don't know if that's, I mean, that's beautiful in one way, but that's scary in another. Because it's giving the air of always pouring out But this one cup in the center doesn't appear to be receiving. Unless by pouring so much into these other cups, they then themselves become so full that they overspill and then your cup is filled again. But the idea that you have to empty yours out in order to be filled up, I don't know. I guess at some point you would reach a cycle, but somehow, some way, it's not happening anymore. You don't have something to pour into, and so you're not pouring into, you don't have, and so they can't pour back into you. These were it gives the air that these cups were only alive and able to do anything for you because you gave them life first. They were not sustainable on their own, which just gives a very vampiric kind of like living off of. And it makes me wonder how much you actually got back in return only to give it back out. So by draining you empty, you've come to realize and recognize and understand that you were the only thing making those other cups worthwhile. It's like you had to see that these things were not really for you. You couldn't see that because you're like, oh, I'm getting back, but only because you gave so much. It wasn't the reciprocity you thought it was. And as soon as you stopped giving to it, immediately they dried up and stopped giving to you. When your MO would be, you're empty, let me give you some of mine. You know what I'm saying? But somehow it's like you realize they never had anything to give to you. You were the sustenance all along. You were what made everything worthwhile. And now you know the truth of these other cups. But on the flip side, it's almost like when we talk about illusory success, I mean, which I guess that makes sense. Like, really, true success is something that can live beyond you, right? That you kind of like get going and then it has a life force of its own. Not that it only stays afloat because it incessantly drains and siphons off of you. So I guess that's where the illusory success comes into play is that whether it's friendships, relationships, work, it's like if it died with you, it was never really alive to begin with. It's just the way that I want to. Because when I clarified, we had the four swords, which is the reprieve, the the going back, the withdrawal, the pause, the let me take care of me. And as soon as that happened, actually, this feels future tense. It's like nothing was really pouring into you. Again, a reprieve to regenerate oneself is what the Four Swords feels like, because that's what was necessary in order to one, a chariot move forward, but have victory. And then we have the Two of Swords, which usually is about a decision, but on here it's talking about peace restored. Whatever you had before, the only sense of peace you got was feeling like you were regenerating, like you were being poured back into, when in actuality you weren't. They're showing me somebody who has like a bucket and like who wants it to rain and wants it to rain. And so they go outside with the bucket and they throw the water up in the air. And as it comes down and pelts, they're like, oh, finally rain. And it's like, no. That's not what's happening. In fact, you lost more than you ever gained back, which is the reason why your cup eventually ran out. 'Cause you never got back the amount that you gave. And while looking for the cup, the proverbial cup and the 7 of cups that's right, it was like your cup was, and again, this sounds colloquial, but it's like your cup was always the right cup. So as a result, it feels like somebody had to force sort some things, take time out, remove themselves, rest, rejuvenate, get to a place of feeling at peace again within oneself. And through that, through somehow like through rest, you find victory. Through the recalibration. And the Two of Swords almost reminds me of like it's like the time to reevaluate what the choice is that's at hand. You were looking at all the other cups to see like 7 of cups, which one's mine, which one's mine, y- which one's for me, and it was like yours is for you. It's like the cup you should have been choosing all along was always only yours. Okay, a lot out of that. Hold on. Yes. But what I find like, agreeing, sorry. But what I find interesting, I don't know how this is gonna pan out because the thing that initially that I was questioning is the King of Pentacles. I was like, "Is this another person? Is this you?" And then so to clarify it, this was the first card I clarified. Um, Queen of Wands came out. And all I could think is how, wow, these 2 seemingly don't match. But maybe they do. Because the King of Pentacles lives in the land of plenty, overabundance, with capacity, but beyond capacity, because the Queen of Pentacles is the capacity, right? Like she's the one that has the capacity within for all of this. He's the one that does. And he's the chariot of earth. Chariot. He's not just the one with the capacity, he's the one that does. And if anybody would be considered the one that's taking a step back and rejuvenating their self would be the Queen of Wands. You know, the whole I don't chase, I attract. 7 of Cups gives a feeling of chasing something and thinking that you attained it when you really didn't. You were just a hamster on a wheel. And by taking that time out and recognizing what the real choice here always was your cup, or it's like your life force or others. You could either sustain yourself or others. And these others could be anything from, again, friendships, family, relationships, career paths, children, like all, like, okay, so they're giving me that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for life kind of thing. It's kind of like robbing these other things of, or at least if it's people, you were robbing them of seeing their own value and learning for themselves how to love themselves. I don't know. That's if it's people, but whatever. But the King of Pentacles would be a stark contrast Like, he's in a place where he's learned bountifulness, right? And how to multiply things. And certainly he only got that way because, I see the kings going in order. Like, you only become the king of pentacles once you've mastered being the king of wands, the king of cups, the king of swords. And the king of cups is the one that understands how to be sparing with his cup. It's not that he doesn't pour into other sources. He's exceptionally discerning of who, what, when, where he does that. He ensures that it is a reciprocal outlet. So here, somebody is almost like regenerating their own sense of power, sense of self, uh, their truth, kind of like reestablishing their seaworthy legs, like really getting, uh, you know, somebody who's been bedridden for so long, and they, it takes a while to kind of get your footing underneath you again, right? Um, that's the Queen of Wands, and then being in this place of I won't ever do that again. What that looks like, what that means. It's like instead of pouring your cup out in hopes of finding something, you find the right reciprocal place and then you pour your cup out, right? There was a learning process that had to go on here and a healing process, a rejuvenation process. And that's where the alignment comes into play. Because with the chariot, it's about alignment. There is no movement unless the two sphinxes, two horses, whatever it is, are in alignment, looking in the same direction, moving in the same path. So if they're trying to go opposite directions, you're going nowhere. Things had to align. And I'm certain whoever the Queen of Wands is fought that period of rest and probably didn't understand or know what rest looked like or what it meant. I'm sure at times it felt like boredom. Others, it probably felt like a prison sentence. She's fire. A lover of action and doing and embodying and fervor and feeling alive and breathing the fire of life into others. Like, this is her. And it's interesting that she comes from a period or a time or a previous state of life where she was the sustenance for everybody else. And it's like it required getting crumbs from multitudes of places in order to still feel like you could keep giving. There was no one real reciprocal source. But this King of Pentacles feels like a reciprocal like this is a king, like my brain naturally goes to, and where does he that I feel like he's built his life in such a way that he is constantly being fed back to. It's the idea of creating that business that if you're incessantly having to grind at it, then it doesn't have a life force of its own. It is only surviving as a result of you. You were meant to build a business that you can walk away from and is its own entity and has its own life and can continue without your incessant involvement, right? He's done that. We then have the Eight of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. It's the idea of putting in some kind of work, but being very hesitant to do such. I could see where a Queen of Wands would be hesitant to do that, because all she has ever known is being the sustenance, is the grind, is the, being the life force for whatever it is that she indulges in. I'm sure it's hard to come out of this timeout, this pause in regards to any aspect of life, love, friendship. I don't know what it looks like to have a healthy friendship that has that lives in and of itself on its own without me feeding it to keep it alive. I don't know what it's like to have a career where I'm not having to be the life support for it, where my light gets dimmed. I don't know that. King of the Pentacles does. King of Pentacles does. He knows. And so anytime prudence, consistency, commitment, um, um, a modicum of work, like everything seems like it's work. And there's this hesitancy to go towards that, to do that. There's a reservation, a pullback, a withdrawal from, in an attempt to keep one's torch burning. Eight of Pentacles just feels like the forward movement in any direction. Like I said, she feels reserved of any aspect of life where she's been put on hold, timeout, and forced to rest, rejuvenate, and choose differently. Two of Swords, choose differently. And until that came in alignment, there's no forward movement. Under the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Magician. Eight of Pentacles does talk about something more honed, something more uh, less divvied out and more specific. It also talks about like a well sharpened skill. Magician is The Eight of Pentacles is also about work. It's the effort that's put in, the consistent effort put in order to see something manifest. It is using that which you have to make something so. But I feel like, and I've seen this happen a lot in the spiritual community, of this disdain, and it's not just the spiritual community, it's in society at large right now, of servitude. Like, I no longer want to right away, like sign my life away to something else. Hold on. That in no way honors me. But it I see a lot of people move into, like, it needs to come to me first before I do anything. I don't want to waste energy ever again. I don't want to waste time ever again. And so then I'm frozen, which would give the Queen of Wands where it has to come to me. I will not seek it out. So somebody's moved from boredom to intentional stasis. There's this right in the solar, this um grating is what I want to say. This grating at the idea of having to put in any more work because frankly, the Queen of Wands, it's almost whether it was appropriately directed or not, put in so much work that okay, they're giving me an image. They're showing me a flower that in no way, shape, or form appears as if it's having to give any kind of work, but there's a lot that goes on inside and there's still fruitfulness, if that makes sense. Like it's the idea that the flower doesn't have to do anything but stand in its glory and blossom. And there's a lot of people that don't want to do, they're done. They feel like their whole life they did enough that it's time to receive. That there shouldn't be any further anything that has any kind of semblance of work. Now that's not for everybody because we know there's others that are very earth energy and it's like they feel good when they're doing. And again, it's not that the Queen of Wands never does anything. It's just that you will never see her having any kind of over expenditure. It's almost as if it either comes easily or not the fuck at all. She gives life, and the King of Pentacles, it's like she's the breath of life, and the King of Pentacles is what grounds it into this reality. And I don't feel like he is her or an aspect that she's meant to figure out. Because again, the King of Pentacles has already figured that one out. I don't think the Queen of Wands is in the position of wanting to do what has to be done in order to make something happen. She It's like she wants to she'll plant the seed, but she's not going to do either it blossoms or it doesn't. There's no overabundance of any giving. And it creates a shortened force. The 8 of Swords in this deck is called shortened force. There's this restraint, a restraint placed on dreams as a result. I'm not doing a million. Okay. Seriously. 4 of Cups, which is the apathy, which is the withholding. Like the 3 Cups, what already is. I don't know if you add another cup, it feels, she remembers those 7 Cups. I spread myself too thin then. There's just, I don't know, with the moon, like deep seated trauma still remembered. I mean, you rested, you rejuvenated, you've healed some things, but it's like but you don't forget. The 4 of Wands. It's giving like they're talking about like you know how like people will say, "Oh, it looks like it was overnight success, but there was 10 years of work." But they never fucking mention that the people who have the quote unquote success after 10 years of work are minuscule and few and far between. That there's far more that put in so much effort for something to never be fruitful. I mean, you get to determine whether or not that's wasted effort, but it's the idea of nothing never again at the expense of me. Nothing ever again at the expense of me. So here, the Queen of Wands, she's refined something and like I want to say it's planted the seed for a manifestation, but the one that has figured it out, that already has something in motion where it wouldn't be an overwork. It's it's like it's the difference of trying to claw your way out of a sinkhole versus somebody giving you a rope to get out. You know what I mean? Like the King of Pentacles, it would be nothing for him to execute something. He already knows exactly how to do it. He already has an idea. He has a foundation. He has such a foundation that if he wanted to start something new, he could and not worry about it all falling to pieces like shh, you know what I mean? Because it can things can sustain on their own. It's like giving the idea of a business that keeps giving you money, but I think his life is set that way. His life is set up in such a way. He just knows the art of creating that, what goes into it, how to do it without pouring out of his cup. She's not done that yet. And it's giving like he might be the answer for somebody who is always all of it all the time to go into I'm not all of it all the time. It's really going to be very difficult to go, hey, here, I will share this with you. You can do the part that, like, healed or not, you're still very used to being everything all the time. And, like, I don't know why I feel like this motherfucker trotting in just makes you feel like I'm not incapable. I can do this. I just don't want to. It's like I don't know. There's some kind of like the sharing of the baton, the sharing of. I think that's what the Eight of Swords is. Because the thing that he's good at, that the Queen of Wands, it's not that the Queen of Wands isn't good at it. The Queen of Wands just fucking won't anymore. She could give to the point of forsaking herself. She just fucking won't anymore. And yes, before the problem was that it wasn't as narrowed. Obviously, with the Eight of Pentacles, it's narrowed down, right? She was giving to so many things that just would not benefit her. But you don't easily forget that. You don't easily forget the ramifications and the cost of doing such a thing. And so now it's almost as if I will not overgive to any area. Like, even if she were not spreading herself thin and gathered everything up and placed it in one area, she's so very well, I will keep these reserves for me. Because that healing process, that resting process was hell. Worst case scenario for the Queen of Wands. Telling the Queen of Wands to sit down and fucking don't move. Are you shitting me? If it's her choice, okay. But it's like squelching out her light. But there's something about spirit going, well, I have somebody that can help you. I don't want a motherfucker's help. Been doing this shit my entire fucking life by myself. What do I need his help for? I know what needs to be done. Yeah, but do you want to do that though? Well, I'll get to it eventually. In 10 years? Because it feels like I know this sounds so dumb because the way that I have it set up, the King of Pentacles is right next to the Eight of Pentacles, but the Queen of Wands is right next to the Magician. She is the magic. She is the magic that brings things to life. She's the life force. She gives life to all that the King of Pentacles does. All the work, all that he produces. It just feels as if it's like, and maybe she doesn't feel like, but if he's doing all the work, then what am I doing? And it's like, you don't understand the thing that he can't do. That's what. The thing that he is yet to be able to do, give meaning to it, bring magic into it. He's doing what he loves to do. There's a practical, well-rooted, make something a reality, but without the inspiration, because that's what the wands is also. It's just more of the same. Without inspiration, there's not really a lot of joy in that or life to it. And I think the Queen of Wands undervalues that of what that would do for the King of Pentacles life. Because she is it. She doesn't know a time where she's not been. Could you imagine in the Seven of Cups in her past where all she had to be was the magic, was the inspiration, was the sustenance, was the oh, that's why they gave me Sierra Farrell's, like, she's the imagination and she's the possibilities and the fantasy and like bringing something to life, giving it life, bringing something together, bringing magic to it. That's all those outfits and the sets. She looks like a fucking fairy. She has these little tutu-y, like dresses, and it's like there's flowers and mushrooms, and she does all kinds of shit. And it's like it brings a whole new meaning and life to something very traditional and old. You would breathe life into something. Your imagination, your wonderment, your desire, your fervor for life, and your light, which shows up in so many ways of how you move in life. And it's like you don't value that, obviously. You were taught to be and do and grind and that things only survived if you gave up of yourself. Because Four of Cups is, again, the proverbial cup coming in, right? The cup that comes in that could just change everything. It could change everything. Unhappy with the status quo, wanting more, desiring more, knowing that what is not going to be sufficient enough for you. Same for the King of Pentacles, by the way. People could look and be like, damn, you've done so well for yourself. And he's missing something. He's missing something. And you're not going to take it. You're withholding. You were never supposed to be the reason. See, in this situation with the King of Pentacles, whatever it is, its survival will not be solely on your shoulders. It will not deplete you because you have a counterpart equally putting in so that neither get depleted. So that you don't give so much of yourself that you lose your own light and life. And so that he gets to have some light and life. So we have the Four of Cups, this hesitancy or apathy to take something because of there's something deep seated in there, the moon. It makes you feel some kind of way. Like, do you feel like you're just checking out of life if you let somebody play an equal part? You're so used to being the only reason something stays alive. You're used to being the only thing that carries the weight of all of it. The only reason you receive to begin with. You don't know what it's like to share in that responsibility, in that weight. And your mind, Eight of Swords, keeps adding all these fucking stories to fill in the blanks of what that really means. You're being called to do that, and your brain is filling all kinds of stories in. So you, because of something that you feel, you don't know what you feel. It's like you could feel really like the moon could be the emotions, the deep, deep, deep emotions that you have for the King of Pentacles. But it's the thoughts, Eight of Swords, and the stories that fill in the blanks. What does that mean? It's like you're trying to, yeah, but if you do that, then it means this. Like you're giving some kind of meaning to it that it's not. You were never taught to value that. You were only taught that the only value is when you were the be all end all, the carry all. Because that's the only reason. And I feel like that goes back, like even like of how you were raised. Like unless you're the be all end all for all involved, you're weak. It reminds me of how my mom used to always push for me and my sister to get our degrees and to do this and da 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 and to never need a man. But if we wanted a man, that was okay. And that sentiment, when you just hear it, sounds great. But all that she did behind that was to teach us that we could never relax into a relationship because we would be handing our power away. And once we do that, bad things would happen. And that came from her first marriage where she was abused and stayed because finances. She thought she was doing something, but it was from her pain and her fear that she imbued us with this. And so therefore we lived our life with the fear of the pain that she endured and never knowing what it meant to have a real connection, a real relationship, a real reciprocity because she never allowed it. Even with my father, she never allowed it. It was always was never a shared load. So you're going to rob yourself of the 4 of wands, a union. There's something about like I didn't earn this though. And I think that plays into what's happening on a larger scale globally with a very heavy patriarchal conservative pushback against any kind of matriarchal system or program or developments in society where there's this sense of you only have because I gave it to you. You didn't earn this, and therefore you lack the power. Like, that's really what these systems are pushing right now. You're afraid that will take you back out of your power in just a different way. And again, it's like because the King of Pentacles brings any element to this connection or to the life that's being built, you feel as if they are the sole reason this life is going to happen. Like, I don't know. It's like you're acting like you're just handing everything over and they're utterly, totally in control. And so, like, the only real way for you to be in control is for you to retain all control. Like, if I don't have all control, then they have all, and it's not what? Like, I just got back up on my throne. I don't want to hand my power over. I just got here. I don't want to just hand my power over like that in a completely different way just to lose it again. Talk to us. Okay, so they're giving me the 2 of swords. Something that I tell you all about the 2 of swords is you want to pay attention to the house, how the swords look, right? And this one, they're crossed. Sometimes they're crossed like this. Sometimes they butt ends, and the person's holding like this. When they butt ends, it's like there's a choice between 2 truths. Um, Equally true for you, and it's like, how do you make a decision between 2 things that are very true for yourself? And I always tell people, which one in this situation, which of those 2 truths would require you to forsake more of the self? In this one, the idea is 2 of swords, these 2 truths are crossing. meaning that neither one is the ultimate truth in this situation. The truth is somewhere in the middle, like a blend, if you will. If you seek to maintain control, all control, you really have no control. If you seek to maintain all power for the sake of maintaining your power, you have no real power. That's what they mean. It's not one or the other, it's somewhere in the middle. It is the joining of the two forces where the truth lies. It's like the idea that in order to be a leader, you must also be a follower. To really maintain your own sense of power, you must also acknowledge others and their center of power. You cannot hoard all of it for yourself and squelch it from others or refuse to acknowledge others. That is not real power. You are not sitting fully on your throne then. You can decide that the King of Pentacles is not a match, is not in alignment. You can decide that that is not for you. But if the reason for your action is fueled by your fear that you will lose your power you already have, it is a sure sign you already have. If you can't see this, then you won't have this. It will not be in alignment. And so if you choose to maintain with the Four of Cups, where you stubbornly don't take that cup, please make sure that it's for the right reason and not for the one that it appears to be right now. I want to retain my power. Then, honey, you don't have any. You are not sitting in your power. You're not sitting in your truth. If it is not in alignment with me, it is not good for me. If it's anything born out of integrity, right? Then okay. But that doesn't seem to be what's happening here. You're meant to have the Four of Wands. There's a milestone that's going to create a foundation for the rest of your life. And it seems to involve the King of Pentacles. Please do not view the King of Pentacles as if he is somehow over you or you are some kind of subordinate. His position and place in life is utterly complementary to yours. And what you have refined and what you are capable of is exceptionally complementary to his. If you meet the King of Pentacles and you feel as if you are in two totally different places, and that sense of subordinacy, meaning like someone's out of someone's league, I am lesser than, and therefore it's the wrong framework. You're seeing it wrong. That is something that you still need to work through, and maybe you do need a little more time on pause. But I want to say that I feel as if you do the Two of Swords, where you recognize that it's not all or nothing, and that it's something in the middle, that it's like It's like your truth and his truth, who you truly are and who he truly is coming together. And beauty is found when those two things merge. When you share the power, not one or the other, when you share it, there's going to be an overwhelming sense of peace. Because in that, you are ensuring that you get to be who you truly are for the remainder of your life that you share with this individual, because you will not be the one and only reason things stay in flux or alive. You will not be the be all end all for everything. You will be able to retain some sense of sovereignty of who you are because of this. You've already proven what it's like to do it on your own. Even if you feel like I have nothing to show for it, I don't have the money, I don't have this, bitch, the only reason shit kept going was strictly because of you. Tell me anything more autonomous, more individualistic, like sovereign, like it was you. It was always just you. And you see how that fucking went. You lost yourself, but you did it. And if you need proof that you did it, fucking look back at your history. The only reason anybody would ever try to make you feel as if you didn't do it on your own or you weren't the soul, whatever, is because they had to hide the fact that they could only survive off of you. So that they didn't have to admit that they didn't understand or know their own sense of power and their own sense of sovereignty. They didn't want to admit that the only reason they flourished was because you were fucking there. You gave them life. Why would they ever give you reason to want to leave? They want to keep you in place so they can continue to survive off of you. The idea that you feel like you don't want to give up, stop, like you mastered that already. I don't know what you're talking, you mastered it already. And you sacrificed a lot as a result. But it's your choice, right? It's your choice. David. Let me see here. Where am I at? Okay, I missed. Thank you, Lilith. Yeah, getting to the point of burnout. For me, this is programming from childhood. You're only valued for what you brought to the community or family. And the funny thing is, it wasn't what you brought to the community or family. Fucking man. It was like you were, no offense, like you were bred to be the source that others fed on. Give me just a second. I think they want to wrap it up with a little, but I don't know. Tell me about the King of Pentacles. This proverbial motherfucker, really quick. I feel him. This is probably not the right term, but it's the only thing my brain is throwing out right now. Okay. Like he's lurching. I don't feel like lurking, is it? Lurching. Why does lurching feel like hunching? I'm like, he's not hunching. I'm like, what is going lurching? Is that a fucking word or am I making shit? I make words up all the damn time, y'all. Um, but lurking is like creepy in a way. He reminds me of some of the cards here in the Tarot Sexual Magic where like you'll have a person, there's a scene, and they're like, there's somebody at the doorway, kind of like peeking in. Let's just get a little bit about the King of Pentacles really quick to see where his status ETA is, because I just wonder, why does it feel like he's already in orbit or already in your sphere, but and it's not like he's waiting for the go, like a go sign from universe. It feels like I don't know, it feels like that's already predetermined. And so this is spirit coming in going, "Hey, are you sure you want to fuck this up?" I don't know. I'm like, no, 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 no. Could you imagine standing at a doorway and then somebody just looks like, "Oh God." Like you wouldn't want to say something. When my kids do this, they're like, no, might not be a good time. It's almost as if it's like approachable, but also like, would you even recognize? Like, are you even paying attention? Tell me about the King of Pentacles really quick. We'll wrap it up after this. Tell me about the King of Pentacles real quick. My green candles crackling. I love it when it sounds like a fire sounds like a fire, you know? Tell me about the King of Pentacles. The sun. Mm, mm. Okay, so I have several readings that are all the way back from before Leo season or during Leo season, and there was a big thing about things happening by the end of Leo season, right? And I've been getting like this idea of it needs to still be posted, and I'm like, oh, those were like I thought they were time sensitive. And it's almost like we're about to embark on another fire sign. Like by the end of November, we'll be in Sagittarius. There might be something still in those readings because I'm getting Leo, just there heavy, heavy Leo energy off of this. But like big fat fucking green light too. I'm like, tell me about the King of Pentacles, and they're like, only the biggest green light you ever fucking could get. Jesus. That's stuck in my Are you shitting me? This feels like soul contracty, deep soul connections. Yeah, yeah, and some of them, you know how like there's like a little kid, a little boy, just giving something to the little girl, like some flowers, and it's like I feel this. It's such a green flag. Um, like his little boy wants to, gender doesn't really matter, but the idea of like their inner child wants to give something to your inner child, like, like my son, all three of my boys when they were little, but I only have one that's like under the age of 10 now. And like the joy when he picks little flowers and brings it to me, or when he comes home with something from school and he intentionally makes it with a bunch of colors. It's like what like he loves to bring joy to me, and the sweetness of his heart when he does, like he the most sincerest, sweetest aspect of him. I feel like such a like I just want to protect him. Kind of like that's the kind of energy. Like I just want to protect, like like something that has not been tarnished by the world. Like I'll show you mine if you show me yours, kind of thing. Like my inner child, your inner child. That's what it feels like. That's the way the energy feels. Delays are over. Things will begin happening very fast. Told you he was already in your motherfucking orbit. Things moving at a fast pace. Fast, 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 fast. Fast. Like they keep showing me somebody at the doorway looking in, about to approach. And we have the Nine of Wands. And the card says not to give up, to believe in yourself. Because, see, I think the Queen of Wands doubts herself and her ability to maintain her light, her joy, her power, her truth, if she shares with the King of Pentacles. And to reject this would be almost to give up on all that you've worked on all this time. It would set you back. It's protect that which you've created. Keep hearing of all the things. It's like, how things the process to get to this was probably pretty loud. The number of promises, the number of times, the number of, like it's coming. This I feel this, I sense this, I know this, and it's like it's always loud. There's something about right now that feels very quiet, because it's almost as if it's like, like when people are going to um like a person's going to propose to somebody and everybody's standing back, but everybody's suddenly now like, because it's the moment. If there's all kinds of people, everybody just stops and looks and watches. It's like it's because it's the moment. It's like if things have gotten quiet for you, of all the promises, of all the times you thought it was, this is the moment, is what it feels like to me. And it's like everything just goes quiet. I think, because it's not even just like, oh, spirit's watching and everybody's just quiet. It's like you go quiet. I feel like you go quiet. It's almost like it's not the big to do that you imagined it to be. It's this quiet entrance, and it takes you by surprise, and before you know it, they're right there. They're just right there. They're just right there. They're just there. It reminds me of uh oh, what is it? David, where the family owns the motel. Why? Why? Like, back in the day, nobody was watching it, and I was, and I would talk about it all the time, and then suddenly people discovered it after the fact and binged all the seasons. But David Rose and like his mom is at the hotel. She's supposed to be watching over it, and he says hello, and she goes, "Well, why? Where did you come from?" That kind of thing. What is that fucking place? Uh, yeah. Oh, what is the name? Why? The Roses. Oh, what is it? I don't remember the name of the show. It's a TV show. Um, but yeah, I feel like this is the moment before the moment happens. And if you're all like, and you got like a million things, and how's it gonna happen? And it's probably not for you because this feels like. And I don't know about you, but like my hermit mode was never fucking quiet because my brain filled everything fucking in. It fought it tooth and nail the entire time. So I don't know what a quiet hermit mode's list. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to get to the crux of the truth, of your understanding, of your clarity, and that's not, in my opinion, quiet. It's isolated. Uh, not quiet. This is quiet. High priestess. I just heard the moment you have all been waiting for. Okay. Thing you always knew would. Temperance, perfect timing. It says perfect timing on it. Anything else, Spirit, before I let them go? Now they're singing, "What are you waiting for? Love me like you do. Love, love, love me like you." Queen of Wands. I might call you on your shit. I feel like you have demanded this to come into existence now. All right, let's wrap this up. Any last things? All that, and you're the one that made it come in at this point. I tell you what. Okay. I hear two people laughing. Sorry, I'm like, and somebody snorting. Like snorting when they laugh. Things are looking up. It's the end of a difficult situation. Now's the time of transformation. Things are going to change. You'd think I know how to shuffle a deck by now. They just keep singing, love me like you do. Love, love, love me like you do. What are you waiting for? World. The culmination. Joy, contentment, happiness, gratitude, the right path, the end of a path, the beginning of a new one. You're at the culmination. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Leave it at that. I hope the message finds whoever it was meant for. I hope that everybody has a fantastic, wonderful day. No, yeah, like the Bates Motel. What was the name of the? What was the name of the? No, there's no fucking hermit mode here. I mean, if the bitch decides she doesn't want this, we did talk about her needing to go back and reevaluate some shit, but that's on her. That's a fucking choice. That's the whole point of this. Is like, hey, if you think that doing this is giving away your power, then you don't really have any to begin with. So, no, the whole point is not to fucking go back into hermit mode again, unless somebody needs to repeat a motherfucking cycle, which is your choice. So, anywho's, it is the Bates Motel, but I don't think that's what it's called. I don't know. Yeah. Had that with your younger brother. Anyways, you're welcome. I hope everybody has a fantastic, wonderful day, and I will see you guys at the next read. Okay? Peace out, home skillets.